I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we break down all the goals in the Premier. Oh no, it's Champions League today, and it's Club Brugge against Aston Villa. Now, actually, I think Club Brugge are still in with this tie. The way that Villa scored their goals, and they did have a couple of extra opportunities, but so did Brugge. Don't be surprised if there isn't a twist in this one when they go back, to England to play. But oh my goodness, this is such an awful defensive mistake. I talk about it every week in the Premier League. They're all defending here. Remember, the space is the danger, and you give them the space. Not only do they do that, just let's have a little look at what's going on. We've got a 1v1 there. We've got a 2v1 there. We've got a you're doing nothing. We've got a you're doing nothing. We've got a maybe a 2v2 situation. You're doing nothing. You're completely unmarked. I don't know what they're thinking here, setting up this defensive shape. Now, if they're splitting, like Villa are splitting up their players one side and the other, that's fine. You've got to match them with an extra. What does that mean? Match them with an extra player. Okay, so you've also got players here trying to mark here instead of having one do both jobs, which you can easily split between the two. It's like they're not sure what to do. The other thing is drop. Take that space away so you don't get punished from in behind. And that's exactly what happens here. Again, I talk about it every week in the Premier League. He just drops the ball. As you can see, it's going into the space behind. So now everybody is running towards the goal. Okay, what does that mean as a defender? That means you're running this way to head the ball that way, which you can't really do. But if you're a striker, you're running this way to head the ball that way, which is exactly what you want to do. They're just putting themselves in a terrible, terrible situation again. As this ball drops, we're looking for it to drop. And when it does, it's right on the 6-yard line. And now all those players that you weren't kind of marking here, and now you're not kind of marking here, because where are you all facing? You're all facing your own goal instead of actually looking to run out from your goal and attack the ball and get it away. You're not doing that at all. So now the ball bounces around a bit, boom, and now we're looking for someone to run in and follow it up. But remember, where were all your defenders running? All your defenders were running from the 18-yard line back to the 6-yard box. So no one here is able to look at this space that was a problem before the ball was kicked and now after the ball was kicked. It's just shocking. Yeah, state of defending in the world nowadays is awful. So can he hit the target? Yes, he can, and he drives it in. It's a great strike. It's powerful. Keeper's doing nothing about it, but it all comes from that defensive line, and all of Villa's plays goals come up from these weird set piece scenarios, really. But that's just awful to me that you're setting yourself in a situation here where you're inviting them to float a ball in behind, inviting them to cause trouble, and, well, you get punished for being stupid. Let's move it on. So here we are, just as the through ball's getting played over the top, we can see player out wide, and if you've been here before, you'll know exactly what's going to happen. Someone's got their hand up, telling someone what to do, so in the next 5 seconds, someone's going to score a goal. The reason for this is, right, it gets really sort of complicated, but I'll give you the main overview. If you're concentrating 80%, that means 20% of your time you're doing something different, telling somebody else what to do. That's the 20. You've got to be concentrating 100% on your job to get it done, to actually make sure you're doing the right things. The moment you've got not one, but 2 players trying to tell other people what to do, you're not focused on what you need to do. Right? And it's a lot more complicated than that. There's a whole study behind it in football where your mindset goes between you concentrating too much on wondering what that player's doing instead of what you're doing. So therefore, you're reacting to what that player has or hasn't done yet. They haven't even made the decision, but you're already thinking about that instead of actually just playing what you see in front of you, playing what's happening in front of you. So there's a run in behind here, and they've got all the time in the world to deal with this. Right? Simple ball in over the top. There it goes. So now take that, what I just told you about that 80-20% there into account. You had 1, 2, 3 players that were in a line just a second ago. Bump, back there on the halfway line. These 2 centre-backs didn't run as hard to get back in line and in shape. Have a guess why? Because they weren't concentrating, they weren't doing their job, they were too busy telling somebody else what to do. Now, all of these yards getting back does matter. That means you're back set in your starting position easier. So you're facing what you want to be able to do, and you're able to defend what much easier. Basically, you're facing the wrong way. You're running back this way instead of setting your back in your starting position, facing where you need to be able to defend. That's not laziness. That's because you're telling other people what to do instead of actually doing your job properly. Now, also, the would-be man out here, wide player, does control the ball brilliantly. He actually takes it away from the defender, makes it hard for him to actually try to tackle him or get close. It's quite decent touch, to be fair, as he plays it down. Dumfries, do you see how he puts it away into the space? Drags it. Oh, but don't worry. We've got Mr. I can't be bothered to do my job and get back into my shape. I'm going to tell somebody else what to do as well. So we know there's going to be a goal in the next 5 seconds. That's just how it is in football, by the way. Just the rules. So if you had me these players where I'd wanted them, because they would have done their job properly, you can see one centre back, he's got back properly, but you can see he's facing this way instead of kind of half on the turn, facing this way, able to see the ball and the field of what's going on. This guy is defending this way because that's where he's facing. So he's defending this zone here. Same as him, he's defending this zone here. The problem is they want to be defending this area here. Let me just clear some of those lines and redo that so you can actually see it better. Right, because they're looking that way. So that's the zone they're defending, right? Instead of he was back here with him, face the right way, they'd be defending this zone here properly. They're not. So here's the would-be goal scorer coming in, right? No one can challenge him. No one can get close to him because no one's even watching him. They're focused on the ball, telling each other what to do. As he steps forward, look, boom, 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 rolls it. He's still backing up. Now, if they were set properly, he wouldn't be on his heels right here. He would be running and pressuring this ball, and so would the second guy here because they would have already seen the pass because they were back in their starting position properly when this strike comes in. And that's why it's so important to be there before the play starts. What we say starting position is for the next phase. So you're there in your starting position for the next phase. You're not in like a dynamic position caught in between doing two things. So he's not. He's set. He's ready to go. He's ready for the next phase. These guys aren't. So they can't react to this. And it's already too late. Bomb straight into the back of the net. Dump, gone straight away. And that it's because of those couple of seconds when you're running back. That's the only time you can make this the time up is before any of this happens. So that's why it's so important you do that before anything else. You know, before the actual the guy wide receives the ball. No, you should already be back because now you're ready, waiting for the next sort of phase, waiting for that to happen, and you're set. Not trying to recover when that guy's dribbling around wide, coming 1v1. That's when they're in their recovery stance, and it just doesn't work. But let's get on to the next goal. Here we are for the next Aston Villa goal. Now, again, this is a goal that they've scored because they've done the right things and been rewarded. So what are the right things? Putting the ball in the danger area, and they get themselves an own goal. Brilliant. Other than that, though, it's not like they've carved them open or done anything. You've just put it in the right zone, the right area. But how did you build it up? How did you do the right things to get there? Because you can recreate those things. Because that's one of the things that you need to understand in football is if you can't recreate the incidents week in, week out, you can't score goals week in, week out. So you can't have this sort of random, we've scored a goal, but we don't know how we've done it. Because you need to be able to recreate that every week with all the players you've got so you can constantly do the thing. So right now, all they're looking to do is play the ball through the lines and get the ball across. Simple, right? Yeah, matters. Little bit of a turn, bump, there it goes. It's that simple. I do like this approach, though. It's really, really good because all he's looking to do is step onto that ball and hit it low and hard across and make it a problem for him to deal with. I'm a fan of doing this. Right now, the reason why this is important, and you don't stop and set and have a touch and do, no. You play it first time if you can. If you've got runners, you've got two runners, brilliant. And the reason for it is the same reason I talk about on those free kicks that are with high lines. Look at where all of their defenders are facing. They're going towards their own goal. That starting position, that set that I was talking about, you don't want them to be in it because it's easier for them to defend. When people are running towards a thing, if they kick the ball, it goes towards the thing they were running to. Right? So that's why you want to drive it in low and hard to start with. Bump, off it goes, off the touch, in the back of the net. Keeper's got no chance. Yeah, there we go. Let's move it on to this penalty. Right here, this is on the goalkeeper, in my opinion. When this ball's up in the air, you can see the defender is just waiting for it to come down. I think he's a midfielder, but we'll call him a defender. And there's a player coming onto him. You don't know what's going to be happening in this situation. You know your defender's going to get a touch. You tell him to put it out for a corner. Just get rid of the ball. Be safe. If you're losing 2-1, okay, Champions League, you go away and you see what you can do. You do something stupid in the last couple of minutes of the game, look, it's just not good enough. It's not what world-class players do. It's not what world-class teams do. So as it starts to drop, you can see how close he's getting here. Much, much closer. If you're the keeper, because you're in charge in the box, everyone's going to listen to you. Just put it safe, put it out. And he goes to have a touch, and he tries to be clever. As a touch, oomph. Oh no, it's gone wrong. That's why you get it out, because all of a sudden your touch has put you in a situation because your first touch wasn't good enough, instead of just putting it safe. Yeah, bad first touch. Should have put it out for a corner and then defended the corner, but you don't. And because your first touch basically gives it to the Aston Villa player, now all he's got to do is just get around you, well, and do anything really, and you brought him down and it's a penalty. It's going to be a penalty anyway. Right. Why can you see that's going to be a penalty anyway? All right. So this is the reason why. He's coming full force this way. You're stood still. Any little touch from you is going to put him over because he's full force. You know that as a goalkeeper because you've seen it happen a million times. You just want your defender to clear it. Any sort of mistake from the defender and you know he's going to give a penalty away if he loses possession. It's like you're waiting for two bad things to happen, and the chances of those two bad things to happen, because remember the defender's got his back to the play, so it's quite, there's a massive chance that there are going to be two bad things that happen. So you just get it out, you just get it over the line, and go in 2-1 away. But now you're 3-1 down, and you're probably out unless the miracle happens. But I'm telling you, I watched a bit of this game, and Bruges are in with a chance here. I don't think they're going to win it. I don't. But it's going to make the second leg much, much more difficult than I think people are going to should imagine. But other than that, I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.